So, one of my manager, after I became CEO, one day he told me that I like all my team members, but I never go to their home. I never meet their family. I know about their family, but I don't meet their children. The reason being that one day I may have to fire this guy. Now, on that day, I don't want to get his wife's, or kid's face, in front of my eyes. Because as a, corporate leader, these are things you have to do. You have to do. That is a thin line between, I mean, the relationships are still great, but they are different. This I learnt on that day. Doesn't mean that I always held on to it. There are different relationships, but that was the first. I got through that because then I had to spend enormous amount of time with each one of my team member, convincing that they are also good. That we got through together, but that was a big learning.
All right, Dinesh, thank you very much for taking time today and joining the Leadership Equation podcast. I'm really looking forward to what I think would be a masterclass, the whole evolution of GCCs in the country. There's so much buzz around it. So, looking forward to the conversation, and thank you very much, Dinesh.
Thank you for having me here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Sure. What's interesting, Dinesh, is you started in 1995 with a company called Thermax. It's a firm that I've come to admire. Just our previous episode, we did a fantastic podcast with the two promoters,
Yeah.
Anu and Meher. But today, for this conversation, let me start with your stint at GE. You started at GE in 1997, before it was even called, way before it was
Right.
even called Genpact.
Right.
I think that time it used to be called
Jekis, correct.
Yeah. You spent about 7 years
Yeah.
with GE. Then you moved to BNY Mellon. You grew it significantly. You spent about 13 years,
Yeah.
the next 13 years with BNY Mellon. And then the last was with your Marsh
Yeah.
McLennan.
Yeah.
You spent another 7 years with
Right.
them. What was running in my mind was that these are three absolutely brilliant
Yeah.
back-to-back
Absolutely.
GCC build-out stories, Dinesh. I think in the current scheme of things, one would be super proud to have one such illustrious journey. It's almost like you have done three of
yeah.
those, right? So to start this conversation, what I would love for you to do is, when you look at these three, innings, if there were to be one, if you were to reflect and distill one personal learning from each of these three journeys, what would they be? Let's start with that.
Sure. Uh, I completed 25 years in this industry.
Right.
I was preparing for a town hall last year sometime, and I was preparing my points, and I suddenly realized, oh my God, it's been 25 years just in the GCC industry.
Right.
So it's a very opportune time as well to talk about,
Right.
some of that. And
Right.
you're very right. GE, BNY Mellon, and Marsh McLennan. I was fortunate to work with three such companies which have given me enough. I've learned a lot, from them. And to your question, I'll start with GE. That was my start of the career as well, younger days. And if you ask me what is one thing that I picked up there or I did, was my own personal development.
Mm.
GE, I have not seen any other organization like GE that invests in its people. And if I am today a leader, I say this half jokingly, but if I am a good leader today, the credit goes to GE. my other employers subsequent have benefited from what GE invested in me. And that is one organization that does not think that I'm investing in this person, but he or she may run away and join someone, so I'm losing talent. Why should I? There is such a good, brilliant focus on talent development from junior, middle, senior. If I wanted, I could get into a training every month. And because the advantage of GCC, again, that's it has got into my head, that because we were GE, we had access to the best in class learning development programs that GE offered worldwide. There is a corporate audit staff program that GE, it was very popular, like 3-year rotation that you get into corporate audit, then you rotate around businesses around the globe. People in India could do it. Crotonville training, which, I was there when Jack Welch was still the CEO. So, and he used to do trainings himself in Crotonville. Not that I got to go there, I was much younger then and junior, but people in India had access to it. So, as a junior, first time leader, what is people management? What is to be a manager? What is to be a leader? Not only that, what is Six Sigma? Right? GE was very famous in promoting Six Sigma. I'm a Six Sigma green belt certified myself. But each aspect of learning the nuances of people management, leadership skills, I learned there. And I owe it to GE significant. That is, if you ask me the one thing, there are very many others, but my inclination to be a part of GCC, that industry I had liked. The day I joined GE in Gurgaon, it just clicked saying, yeah, I want to be in this industry,
How large was Jekis back then?
It was less than 2,000 people.
Wow.
This is October 1999. Actually, I joined in 99, not 97. 97, they actually started here in India. I joined, I remember Tiger Tyagarajan was the CEO.
Yeah.
And it was his email announcing 2,000 employees, was around that time.
Yeah.
So I consider myself very fortunate that I joined the industry at a time where it was very new.
Yeah.
It was just, industry was new, so the learnings were there, but there is always this early advantage, right?
It's
when
almost
you
like
join.
the OG of GCC.
Yeah, it is. It very much
Right.
is, very much. I was in finance and accounting, being a chartered accountant.
Right.
GE had created $100 million fund for all its CFOs around the world, saying, leverage India, this is the funding, figure out what can go to Gurgaon and make it happen. It
This
was
is 99 2000.
99 2000.
And if I remember it correctly, GE sold a stake in to General Atlantic
Yes, correct.
and that's how
Correct.
Genpact came up. That was 2005?
That was 2005. That's exactly when I left. And one of the reasons, with due respect to all the leaders in Genpact, and it is a success story, no doubt. Personally, I made a choice. I do not want to work for a third party. I prefer to be in GCC. So I left Jekis to join BNY Mellon.
Oh, that almost was a trigger for. Understood.
It was a trigger. See, it became very emotional, if I can talk about it.
Yeah, of course.
That how could GE sell us? We are such a fantastic company. We are GE. We work for GE here, and now becoming Genpact, and this General Atlantic coming
Yeah, GA.
in,
Yeah.
and we becoming a third party vendor. It just did not click.
And by that time, Jekis had grown to what? Around that 2005 time frame?
Yeah, it must be 5 to at least 10,000. At least 10,000. It had become very significant by that time on the value chain. There were call centers, right?
Right.
The call centers had vanished. The data entry centers had vanished. Finance and accounting, we were doing GE balance sheet in Gurgaon. That is how finance and accounting had grown to evolve. And it was, a lot of things that happened. Everyone was enjoying. I was not alone. There were like few, at least few like me who took it very emotionally and said that this won't be the place. It is fantastic. Genpact is very very successful. I'm just describing what
Your
happened 2004 5.
right,
Personally, I think that change worked very well for me.
right,
I'm not regretting that at all.
right.
But that's how the change happened, and that's the one learning, right? I mean, to
Yeah.
your question.
Coming back to the main point, yeah.
So I joined Mellon Financial Corporation, and within a year we got acquired by Bank of New York. They call it merger, but it was sort of acquisition.
This is 2006.
2006, yeah. The merger was announced in 2006. I had joined them in 2005. What my career really took off in BNY Mellon. I became the CEO there for the first time.
Yeah.
But when I look back, the one word to describe my journey is reinvent myself. And why I say that is I joined as transitions head. I mean, those who are new to GCCs, transitions is really my job was project head. And my job was to sell, for lack of a better word, India to the stakeholders, bring work to India and migrate it, right? That's what I was doing. But I had no team. We were a startup. I was one of the 25 employees to join Mellon Financial Corporation's Pune center. So my role started there. Within a year, 2 years, I became Chief Operating Officer. I was the first one. Because there was no, we didn't have operations, so there was no need to have Chief Operating Officer.
Right.
When the scale came to about 500, the CEO decided that we need one. I had ops background, and I was doing well, thankfully, so he gave me that role. As a COO, my span grew from 600 to 3,000. 3,000, 3,500, at which point I became CEO. And from there, when I left, we were 7,000.
Wow.
So I've seen the journey from 25 to 7,000.
Right.
And the reason I reinvented myself is because an individual contributor, the COO role from 500 headcount span to 3,500, I couldn't be successful unless and until I changed myself.
Interesting.
I had to change my style. I had to go away from micromanagement to be little bit comfortable with managing with other people doing their stuff. Then to become a CEO, a new CEO who every day gets evaluated,
Yeah.
It's very fair.
Yeah.
And then to grow the organization, lead a large organization, needed me to, I think, change at least 7-8 times inside me. And that was my personal maturity, my leadership style changed, the organization was growing. And it's banking, it's not easy. Banking is most difficult.
Yeah, and regulated.
It is highly regulated.
Monitored and yeah.
To have an organization like BNY Mellon having almost 10% of its headcount in India is very significant for various stakeholders, not just for the CEO or the CFO or the COO. It's regulators as well, like you said, the clients around the world.
Yeah.
It was a fabulous success story. I've enjoyed every day of my being there. If I can elaborate a little
Please.
bit, every Monday morning, I used to personally invite our new employees to the organization. I was the first face they would see in the company, and I did it right from my COO days. I continued that till the time I left, and I used to say this to them every Monday morning, saying on Sunday evening I start to look forward to going to work on a Monday morning. That's how this place is exciting. And I used to proudly say that if there are 3 consecutive Mondays that you don't feel like going to work, quit. But this place will not let that happen to you. That is how, that place was fantastic. And I feel very proud of what we did there as a team as well. And I personally feel very happy, satisfied in terms of my career, is because that journey of those 13 years or so
Yeah.
uh, just changed me, as an individual, as a professional, as a leader. So that's why I, call
Amazing.
that as reinventing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
uh,
So the first one you talked about, investing in yourself,
yeah,
building the competencies that you needed to do
yeah.
what you were doing at GE. Then BNY, it's amazing. It's quite well framed as well, that inventing your own. And then you move to
Yes.
Marsh
So,
McLennan.
and
Yeah.
my biggest learning,
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
is, uh, you, I'll say this half jokingly, you should not plan for your career.
Why is that?
So I left BNY Mellon in 2018, and I thought I was very strategic about my career. Right, this is what we think we are planning. We are in control. We are deciding of what we want to do. So I made a shift from banking to insurance. I From Pune I went to Mumbai. I very deliberately came from a 7,000 people organization to a 2,001, because the principal reason was that 7,000, you are there, but things are happening.
Right.
Of course, you are the head of the organization, so a lot of things come to you, but to get into details doesn't become possible. Sometimes people even don't like it if you try to get into too much of details, because there are capable people who are doing their job, and your job is to guide them. So I thought, now, because, and I like enjoying, I'm an ops guy, hardcore operations person, right? So I thought in insurance I will get to learn. So many other factors considering, I made the switch, and I joined JLT, Jardine Lloyd's Thompson, right?
Yeah.
That was the organization. Very entrepreneurial, highly successful British insurance broking firm. The parent was Jardine Matheson, a name a lot of people may not have heard. You should check out for them. It is an Asian giant. They almost own Hong Kong. $80 billion is their revenue.
80 billion?
80 billion. They have hotels, automobile, they airports, they own Hong Kong airport almost. They owned JLT.
JLT.
And the plan was that, and they have like 500,000 employees around the world. They're very big. And the idea was that we will help Jardine Matheson leverage India. And that was, one selling point for me, as to I'll get to do completely different. Like, I mean, who has done offshoring for hotels in India, or car manufacturing, or they have an assembly plant, I think, in Indonesia. I joined in March 2018, and no one in their wildest dream thought that they'll get acquired. And in September, the same year, September 2018.
Oh, the year that you joined?
Yeah. Within
Oh, so in a
6
few months.
In few months.
Okay.
This is also the case. Even though I joined as the CEO, I was the new boy, right? New kid on the block. I was getting evaluated by, they're all my friends now, of course, but it happens.
Right.
Before even they could really judge me and say, yeah, he's a good guy.
You were acquired.
You were acquired, and I suddenly became person responsible for their survival or career. Is because the day you get acquired,
Yeah, there is a different journey.
everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything changes. And of course, immediately people did Google and search and found out that Marsh McLennan did not have a center like us. But that also meant they were working with many third-party service providers. So the worry was they will sell us off. It could happen because GCC was not their strategy. So the learning, right? So I joined 6 months, then we got acquired, then I spent a lot of time in integration, and then COVID happened. And during COVID, Marsh, my home there, decided we want to grow transformation program, and the headcount doubled or tripled within that time. So what I intended to do and what I did for 7 years was completely different. Everyone has to be open.
Right.
That's my learning. You
Right.
can't really plan.
Right.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't plan,
Right.
right? I mean, what you want to do, you
Right.
have to go on that track, and then things happen.
Right.
But things can change as well.
Right.
And when they change, you have to figure out now what do I do.
Mm.
I mean, when we got acquired, I had to stand in front of the entire organization in Mumbai, answer their questions, right from what does it mean, what's going to happen to us, who is Marsh McLennan, and the answer to every question was, I don't know.
I just got to know as well. Yeah.
And to be able to stand there, right,
Right.
and actually say that, but I figure, I realize that saying I don't know is sometimes a good answer. Then people trust you more
Right.
than
Then
trying
giving
to
yeah,
just
a
like
created artificial
yeah,
answer.
exactly we did a Q&A, but everyone was so shaken at the time that not having answers was all right, actually. But those are my three career points, three career learnings, and each one has taught me a lot. And here we are after 25
What a
years.
brilliant articulation of a equally stunning journey, Dinesh. This is fantastic. Wow. Allow me to, just because of those experiences, allow me to go one level deeper.
Yeah.
If we move from individual to, let's say, people and purpose, any defining moments in these innings that um, you remember, you recollect, and purely come from a angle of purpose, angle of people. Yeah, go a little deeper.
So people,
Yeah.
what comes to my mind, GCC industry, in fact, any industry, any business is all about people, right? People
Right.
is what makes it or breaks it. Learning people skills is actually very important, but how does it happen? So when I think of any defining moment, there are many, but I could think of this one which happened in early GE days. So I'm a chartered accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Till the time I joined GE Jekis in Gurgaon,
Mm-hmm.
I was an individual contributor, or I just had one or two sort of assistants. It was not like a people manager role.
Mm-hmm.
I landed there, and I was one morning given a 16 member team, 1 6. And we were to go to Leeds to migrate our first account reconciliation process to back to Gurgaon.
So fairly important.
Fairly important because
Right.
For
Yeah, this is why the center was getting created.
center was getting
And this is your
created,
first assignment to
global
yeah.
consumer finance,
Yeah.
industry, the
Yeah.
UK process, the first one,
Yeah.
and 16 was a large,
Team.
team process. And I was already in GE countrywide in Mumbai. I had taken an internal transfer, so the relationship manager, who was the vice president, he actually handpicked me. He said, I want this guy, to go to Leeds and do this. I think he will do a good job. Yeah, but 16 I had never handled.
Hmm.
It happened very well. We came back, and I was with 1 year with that team, 1.5 years. Before then, I went to France, right? But this experience is during my GCF days, the 16-member team that I had. We were like a family. Every Friday evening partying, so because we stayed in Leeds together
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
couple of months, so
Yeah.
relationships formed.
Yeah.
I was like one of them, and they used to like me. This guy who's come from Mumbai, can't speak good Hindi. Yes, they could feel like whenever I would say two sentences, ये Mumbai का है, ये यहाँ का नहीं है, because the way we speak Hindi, तुम, आप तो बोलते नहीं है, it's तू. So, but it was very well, all was going well till the day email from HR came that you have to do performance assessment. Now rank them, and GE has a bell curve,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Famous, infamous, whatever you call
famous
it.
and
Yeah.
famous. So 20% top
Yeah,
performer,
yeah,
10% has to be a
yeah.
bottom performer,
The Jack Welch philosophy.
and he was still there, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he was still
He
there.
was
Yeah,
still
yeah,
there.
yeah. So 20% had to come.
So 20, yeah. So
Yeah,
no, 20, 10,
right.
and 70.
Okay, so 10 had to come, sorry.
10 had to come,
Yeah,
and so we were growing. So there was no question of 10 get letting go,
right,
but they wouldn't get bonus or merit increase,
right.
right? That was a very very rule. That was the rule. I tried to that was the morning I sat there and said, oh my God, now I need to differentiate them. I need to distinguish their performance, and for me each one of them was the same. I never treated in my mind any one of them any different. I actually did not know what to do. Who are those? So 16 out of that, 3.2. So I got, thank God I have now 3. 3 I have to rate as,
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
I tried very hard to negotiate to get out of it. I was told nothing doing. Even if it's your first year of migration, you have to. I did. And when they came to know, and I don't know about foreign countries, but in India, ratings are very well discussed.
yeah,
Nothing is confidential.
right.
In the same day I distributed the ratings, everybody knew who I think are the top performers and who I think are the bottom performers. And the whole atmosphere in the team changed overnight.
Mhm.
And I became responsible for that. So one way, philosophically, I argue these HR rating systems is a nonsense.
Obituary of bell curve.
Because
Yeah,
exactly, right? But then the big learning for me was I cannot be friends with my team.
right,
It
right.
is different to be
Yeah,
their manager,
yeah,
the leader, and to be a friend. Because I had never handled a team, and I genuinely liked them even the day before and the day after as well. As a manager, as a leader, it is your job to differentiate their performance. It is the right thing to do. Everybody is not equal. I do believe actually that 60% of the employees carry the whole organization. There are 40% who are passengers. It's a fact. You know, now let's argue 60-40 or
yeah.
whatever,
The
but
percentage
the
doesn't
percentage doesn't
may change
matter.
a little bit here and
But
there, but
there are,
yeah,
everybody is not
yeah, yeah,
contributing. It was a defining moment in the sense that from that day, the way I, in my mind, started, and that still continues somewhere.
right,
A colleague and friend is different.
yeah,
So, one of my manager, after I became CEO, one day he told me that I like all my team members, but I never go to their home. I never meet their family. I know about their family, but I don't meet their children. Now, this can be extreme, but this is what he said. The reason being that one day I may have to fire this guy or girl, and on that day I don't want to get his wife's, or kid's face, in front of my eyes, because as a, corporate leader, these are things you have to do. You have to do. That is a thin line between, I mean, the relationships are still great, but they are different. This I learned on that day. Doesn't mean that I always held on to it. There are different relationships, but that was the first. I got through that because then I had to spend enormous amount of time with each one of my team member, convincing that they are also good. That we got through together, but that was a big learning.
amazing. Yeah, there's been, I'm deviating a little bit, but there's so much written, spoken, researched about this whole, bell curve. Now, one can argue whether it is good, bad, but one thing I've realized that even if you were to take that away, um, uh, first of all, you can only take that away when
Yeah.
there is enormous amount of maturity in managing performance, because then what you're trying to do is move away from relative performance to absolute
Yeah.
performance in
Yeah.
some way,
Yeah.
and there has to be some scale of managing it. And over a period of time, I don't know whether you feel it the same way or not. I've seen that over these years, there was a phase in between. There was a lot that was going on around taking the bell curve and those concepts away. But that noise seems to have died down. The whole performance ranking, identification of top performers,
Yeah.
identification of the bottom performers. They remain a necessity in the business, isn't it?
It is, you call it a continuous performance evaluation by
Yeah,
having those monthly
yeah, yeah,
one-on-ones,
yeah.
half yearly
All sorts
reviews.
of frameworks and periods are there, but
It is, so do whichever way.
yeah,
But when it comes to, so the example I take it, bonus.
yeah,
End of the year, you are going to get a finite kitty.
right. How do
And
you distribute it?
how do you distribute
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
right?
yeah. You
That
need anchors
money,
for it.
you do need some rationale
Yeah, you need.
for giving somebody more and somebody less. You're
Yeah,
never going to give.
yeah,
That's not,
yeah,
that's not
yeah.
even
You'll create
fair
a
to people.
yeah, over a period of time. You'll create a much bigger mess out of it.
Exactly.
You would have, we've
Exactly.
seen so many organizations that went down that route,
Yeah.
didn't have the maturity, didn't have the long-term
Yeah.
thinking. They actually went back many
Yeah.
steps
Yeah.
because realizing that we are creating more damage to the fabric
Yes.
of the
Yes.
organization. Um, yeah,
But it is better to be upfront, communicate,
yeah,
give a feeler that you're not going the right path, you may not be getting a good rating,
yeah,
and allow that person appropriate enough opportunity to improve.
absolutely.
I think that as an organization
Yeah,
is
yeah,
something we can do
of
really
course.
well.
Yeah,
Now, after that, the person has to take the hints
yeah.
and do something. Otherwise, we have to let
You,
that person, take the decision,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
We can't just
yeah.
keep
You need
carrying.
anchors.
Yeah,
But to just again go all that we have discussed so far as a chartered accountant,
yeah,
Dinesh, to relearn, unlearn some of the stuff that you would have otherwise grown up with and have a career that you've had, and of course, a significant journey is up ahead for you as
yeah.
well. But it's an amazing journey to just see from a distance and admire.